Hello, my name is Navigator, and in today's quick video we're going to be taking a look at some wrestling action figures that I probably shouldn't have in my collection, or in other words, some controversial wrestling figures. You guys know me, obviously I collect a lot of wrestling action figures. Every once in a while I'm going to have to come across something or someone who maybe did something unsavory in the past or is not well liked, and today I'm going to be showing off any of those figures that kind of fall into that category that I have in my collection. So, without further ado, we're going to start off with Hulk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. Don't worry. We are going to start off with probably the most controversial wrestler of all time. And that is going to be, obviously, Chris Benoit. So, I do have this old kind of Jax Chris Benoit with the blue tights and the shirt. But I also have the chase of the Deluxe Aggression. I think this is the chase of the Deluxe Aggression, CM Punk, Chris Benoit. These are the only two Benoits that I have in my collection. The one on the right here, the Deluxe Aggression, is in my opinion the best Chris Benoit figure ever made. The articulation is just crazy on these old Deluxe Aggressions, and actually I have quite a collection of them. You can see right over there on the wall. Have some of the ECW guys, but seriously, next to Elites, I would say the best kind of just basic WWE action figure to get for articulation is the Deluxe Aggression. So really quick, I'll show this off. I remember I won this in a lot, like a Jax lot off of eBay. I got the whole thing for 40 bucks, and this guy I'm pretty sure is like super rare. But he is in phenomenal shape, absolutely phenomenal shape. All the stuff on the gear is still there. There's no wear and tear, no bumps, no marks, nothing. This is probably, even though he is controversial, it is a toy at the end of the day, this is one of my most prized WWE figures because it is just so rare. And then I guess really quick, I can show off this old Jax Benoit as well. Nothing too crazy. I got this at the, I think it was the Niagara Antique Mall. Or Antique Emporium in Buffalo, New York. This was the first one I ever had, and I was thinking about getting it for the head sculpt, and then I came across this guy right here, but we do have that. So that is going to be the only two Chris Benoit figures that I have in my collection, and we will move on to the next controversial figure, I guess you could say. Although he was never truly proven guilty, we do have Superfly Jimmy Snuka, or if you're a Deadlock Pro Wrestling fan, Snuka. But anyways, Jimmy Snuka, and I was looking into this before I made the video, Jimmy Snuka is controversial because in the mid to late 80s, his girlfriend, his mistress, was killed. She was murdered, and they believed that Jimmy Snuka was there. From what I recall, he was like the only possible person who was even in the area or who could have possibly done it, but because of the lack of evidence, I guess, they never really got him. Back in 2015, they did charge him with third-degree murder, but because of his terminal illness and his dementia, in 2017, all the charges were dropped, and the charges were dropped, and then he died in 2017. So, never really proven guilty. I'm a big guy, innocent until proven guilty, but this guy most likely murdered his girlfriend. Like, I ain't gonna hold you on that. But let's take a look at the figure. I grabbed this at That 80s Toy Shop. No dark cloud over them at all. They always have a great selection of figures, as you guys know. But we do have the little stand down here. I was looking it up, and he typically wore, like, really short trunks and was barefoot. And they were making the barefoot Von Erichs. I got one of the Von Erichs right there who's barefoot at the time. So I'm not sure why they didn't put him in his traditional gear. But this is cool nonetheless. I think I paid like 30 bucks for this figure. It was a little steep, but it is pretty cool. Definitely a rare one. This is from the original Legends line, hence the coloring on this old, like the stand plate, but not bad. Really not that bad. Not a figure that I really display. I kind of keep it in a nice little container, but he's got a lot of interesting soft good accessories. I wish that he came with the hands or whatever, the kind of the Spider-Man hands that Superfly would do, but overall, it is a decent figure, and I don't really know what else to say. I guess we'll just leave it there with Jimmy Snuka, but there we have it. I'm not sure what Legends wave it's from, but the Jimmy Snuka Elite Legends. And then finally here, I told you it'd be a quick video. We are going to be taking a look at possibly, and I said the most controversial wrestler, but the most controversial person in wrestling history as a whole, and that is going to be Hulk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. That is going to be, you guessed it, Vinnie Mac, Vince McMahon. So I do have this basic here, and I got this from my friend Sean Mansfield for like $8, I think. This was the first Vince I ever had in the collection, but this next one is really the only other figure that he has in kind of this wrestling gear. It is going to be his, I think it was a Toys R Us exclusive Elite version, kind of the Mr. McMahon from when he won the title, his Elite. It's not the, or at least the shirt isn't the original, but I have the figure. It's in great condition. I'll show it off here in a second. But this was one that I really debated. They had him going for $70 at that 80s toy shop. I haven't looked him up in a while. I'm not really sure what he's worth, but to me, that was worthy of buying. I stewed on it overnight. I asked my girlfriend about it because I'm typically not someone that likes to buy figures of like super controversial wrestlers. The Chris Benoit's one thing because that's a whole other can of worms with Chris Benoit, but with Vince, I really did have to think about it. I was like, do I really want to buy a figure of this such a despicable guy? And if you don't know what the whole thing is with Vince McMahon, look up, go watch Mr. McMahon on Netflix. There is literally a Netflix documentary about this guy and the shady stuff that he has done in the past and even the present. But I'm going to leave opinions aside. Let's take a look at these figures. So number one, we do have the basic Mr. McMahon figure, and you can see there it's a little scraped up on the chest, but I'm not really too concerned about that. A lot of black. He's got the gloves on there, kind of like those UFC gloves, and pretty cool. This is the old basic, so there's a lot more articulation than kind of that that era of basics before the main events. But this is pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. This is one that I might be willing to let go of, is that Vince McMahon, because it's the basic. But this one, the Elite, this is going to be one that I keep in my collection forever. It's like a Dark Tourist kind of thing. If you guys ever saw that show, it's just a morbid curiosity. But this is really cool. At face value, it is really cool. You got the black pants here, the black suit pants, with a little kind of like pocket or logo on the back, which I thought was a nice little detail. And then you've got the wrist wrap and everything, and the hand wrap, which is really unique. You don't see wrist wrap like that a lot on these figures, so this is super unique. And the shirt, I'm not sure where the shirt came from. He came with more of like a black sweater, a little bit longer. Maybe one day I'll pick that up and kind of match it, and he also came with the title and whatnot. But for the most part, this is an okay alternative for that vest. And then finally there, you do have that head sculpt. If someday, and I plan on it, I plan on making a WWE arena similar to my AEW one that we have right here. Vince McMahon, I don't even know where I'm going to put him, but he's definitely going to be displayed in some kind of comedic fashion. But who knows? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And guys, I'm looking at the pile here. That is going to wrap it up for all of the controversial action figures that I have in my collection, and I'll display them the best that I can right here on screen for you. Where's Superfly? We'll throw him in there. And then, of course, we can't forget the... I'm just playing again, folks. But that is it. I will leave it there. Once again, a video going over, in my opinion, my most controversial wrestling action figures. As always, folks, my name is Navigator. Have a nice day. Take care.